Sorry there, bud. That one doesn't pass the smell test. Welcome back, party people, to One True Theory, where today we are here to discuss the lies that a certain group of people have been telling us for months, going on years now. This lie is about a certain character's abilities in a little old TV show known as Steven Universe. And that's Steven himself. We've talked about a lot of Steven Universe characters so far in One True Theory, but it's about time we come full circle and finally get some hardcore discussion going on about the true extent of Steven's abilities that not even he realizes, but that's because he's been fed the same lies the CREWNIVERSE has been feeding us. In this theory, I'm here to tell you that Steven Quart's universe is 100% capable of poofing, and more importantly, he is capable of reforming back to exactly normal with no notable differences upon his own desire. This is probably the boldest claim I have ever made during the course of One True Theory, and before anyone says anything in the comments section below about the crew, or more specifically Matt Bernay disproving this in a tweet, I want to tell you that this is the most clear case of deliberate deception I have ever seen done by a TV producer in a series ever. Well, I take that back. The season 6 Walking Dead finale actually takes that helm, but I still love The Walking Dead, and more to the point, I still love Steven Universe. These issues have to be addressed, however, and I, as Party God Douglas, intend on being the person who shines the light on this mystery, which shouldn't be a mystery in the first place. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm fully understanding Steven is a human being. He is nothing like any Jim who has ever existed, but that in mind, he is also nothing like any human being who has ever existed either. Steven is a Jim and a human being at the same time, while at the same time being neither at the same time. Sounds sort of confusing, I know, but at the end of the day, it is kind of true. And although this leads to not only an unbelievable amount of confusing circumstances for Steven as he develops as a character, it also gives the show a convenient excuse to give us when Steven seemingly has a limitation. Though we've seen time and time again that Steven being a human-Jim hybrid is not as much of a burden as everyone builds it up to be, and is actually the superior option between either being just a human or being just a Jim. I mean, think about it. When we really get down to it, Steven's powers versus Rose's powers, the evidence starts stacking up. I mean, let's take a short checklist of these powers. The ability to jump ridiculous heights and float. The ability to grow sentient plant life, but more importantly, direct it. Healing powers. Weapon summoning. Of course. Enhanced strength. Rose has more, but Steven definitely has increased strength, which we don't see often, but there are several key instances that come to mind. Steven lifting the rose quartz cannon solo, Steven blocking Pearl without being moved at all and sworn to the sword, lifting Jenny out of the peripod, and Steven in the Cool Kids, and Steven vaulting Connie in the hospital in Nightmare Hospital. And he did all of this seemingly effortlessly, as we see in all of these instances. Shape-shifting? Yes, but as a trade-off, Rose is the only one being able to poof and regenerate, right? But you're just assuming. Steven does have limits as being a human being. You even said he isn't as strong, so it isn't impossible to think that he would just die and wouldn't poof. Well, I can't argue with that. He does need to eat. He does need to sleep. He does have basic human needs, so I guess I'm out of luck here. Except for one thing. The Rose Quartz Gem. Rose transferring the Rose Quartz Gem over to Steven was the best thing Rose has ever done, but something not without its trials and tribulations. But because of the process that Steven underwent while he was a little Stevis growing in his mother's womb, he was granted the ability to regenerate, along with all of these other cool, neat abilities. How on earth can I defend this absurd claim? Surprisingly easily. Like, I am a little shocked that no one else has tackled this. Here, check it! Did you see it? You didn't? Okay, let me play it again. I can understand it. Maybe it isn't a little clear at first, but it's definitely there. Note what happened here. one person with very human organs, a very human brain, a very human heart, and all the other malarkey humans need to stay whole in order to stay alive were ripped from this one person and divided into two people, two very human people. The very human organs of not only Stephen but of Connie, a full human, are broken down and converted into light and made into a new body, and vice versa from Stephen to the kids. Now let me ask a question to anyone with any understanding of any kind of biology will be able to answer for me. Can humans normally survive having their entire being broken down into nothing but light? Okay, follow-up question. Can humans then survive having the light reconverted into a new body? The answer to both of those questions is no. This is not something humans survive. And we can attribute Stephen and Connie's survival to the magic of the rose quartz gem. However, there is something more interesting about this process. Not only are Stephen and Connie perfectly okay coming out of their fusion, but they are exactly as they are where and when they fused. There is nothing special about that seemingly, except when you consider that for a brief moment in time they were absolutely nothing but light. Which means that not only can the rose quartz gem convert humans into light, but it also has a deep enough understanding of humans to sort them out perfectly upon defusing. So this means the rose quartz gem is capable of not only reforming the body of a half-gem, half-human hybrid like Stephen, where the gem originates, but also of a full human like Connie, which gives great amounts of evidence to Stephen being able to regenerate. But what exactly is poofing? It's gems retreating into their gem for healing. So the body is converted into the gem and the gem decides how they'll come back. So what does this mean for Stephen? Well, many people theorize that Stephen can't come back from being poofed or even poof at all because he is a half-human, half-gem hybrid because his biological half can't regenerate / hold him back. This can't possibly be true though. If Stephen's biological body prevented him from being able to regenerate, then it would also need to prevent him from being able to fuse because biological bodies don't do that either. Stephen, however, is special because he has the rose quartz gem, and the rose quartz gem is special because it has Stephen. Stephen, thanks to his unique biology, can be poofed, and because his gem has the ability to convert light within a gem into real biological bodies, as we've seen with Stevani, then it can in fact allow him to regenerate when he is poofed and come back the same as he has ever been. He wouldn't have any palette swaps from his gem or anything because his gem already has all of his DNA. He wouldn't have any palette swaps from his gem or anything because his gem already has all of his DNA and a complex understanding of how his human DNA and how human DNA functions on it. We know the body would be as human as it is now because of how Stephen and Connie are able to come back from being Stevani 100% the people they were when they entered. Stephen truly is the ultimate culmination of the two species because he's raised as a human with all the powers and abilities of a gem. So he knows restraint. He knows an unmatched level of empathy, and it is because of this, Stephen is truly more than meets the eye. And the last piece of evidence I want to bring to the table comes from the latest string of episodes, which put into question who Pink Diamond's killer really is. And I think the only real way that we're going to find that out is if Stephen takes an introspective journey into the rose quartz gem. And the main way that gems do that is by getting poofed. And considering all the other evidence that we've brought forth, I think it'd be an awesome storytelling point that we're going to see in the future. So really, this is a 2-for-1 theory. 1, Stephen can be poofed, and 2, Stephen is going to enter the rose quartz gem at some time. Thank you all for joining me today. If you like this theory, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Party God Douglas Productions for more content that you're going to love. Do you think that I'm right about Stephen being able to poof? Leave a comment down below and we'll talk about it. Until next time, everybody, remember, every video is a party, and you're invited to the next one. Have a good night.